Rev up your engines! Yes, it's that time of year again. The last of the leaves have fallen on the ground, and I'm going back to Tennessee. Time to start loading the tools up, bringing them back to a warmer climate. I gotta say, I had a lot of fun helping people in Rhode Island and the East Coast out with all those problems. Met a lot of really interesting people with interesting problems and interesting vehicles. Got to check out my neighbor's English pickup truck. That was a thrill, I'd say the least. I continue to test out products and make sure they work. In this case, I've been using it all summer and it's still at 100%. It's still at 100%. I don't know what they put in these batteries, but they really work well. I discovered a gigantic Hulkman battery charger that really is great for jump starting cars. You want a heavy duty one, you can't beat this thing. And you might notice that my giant pressure washer's gone, the Giraffe pressure washer. I love it, it's got 100-foot hose. But remember this, because I didn't remember it once in Tennessee. And as they say, learn from your own mistakes. The only problem with pressure washers is they're full of water. And when it gets cold, the water freezes and it destroys them. I wiped out a couple of cheap plastic ones in Tennessee in an unheated garage. They froze and broken. In the summer when I turned them on, water squirted everywhere because all the plastic cracked. Well, my garage here isn't heated either. So always put any of those things with water inside the house. Stuck it in the cellar next to the furnace, which certainly isn't going to freeze, right? You got anything that has water in it, you want to get it away from the freeze, or spring when you want to go use it, you'll find out it is broken. Simple thing. That's why the guys at the Giraffe company that makes the pressure washer were smart. It comes with this bracket, so you just slide it off the bracket and put it away instead of having to bolt and unbolt. Smart move. You want to be able to get it out of the weather when it gets really cold outside. And speaking about getting out of the weather, well, winter's coming and I'm going on a trip, so time to check a few things. And if you're smart like me, do it now before it gets too cold and you don't want to do anything outside. Make sure your tires are full of air, because when it gets cold, the pressure goes down. Fill them all up. The last thing you want when you're on a trip is a flat tire. And while you are filling them up, like I always say, look at the pressure of each one first. You're gonna lose a little pressure as it gets cold and you expect to add some air. But if you find 3 of the tires have 25 PSI and you're gonna pump them up to 32, but one of them's only got 15, the one with 15 probably has a nail or something in it. So fix it before the weather gets too bad, and definitely fix it before you go on a road trip. Hey, if your oil's dirty, change it before the trip, but this is still clean and full, so I don't have to. Make sure your squirters are full of squirter fluid that goes to cold weather. Don't get the one that says protects to 32. That's just water. 32 is the freezing temperature of water. Get one that has antifreeze built into it, so it'll work when you need it. You don't want to have dirty windshields on the highway and all of a sudden you go to squirt them and nothing happens because they're frozen. And it might be cold outside, but your engine still runs hot and it's water cooled. So here's your trick. Get a flashlight, stick it in the overflow. Now you can easily see there's coolant in the bottom, so it's fine. And be a Boy Scout like me. This is a Tradesman M6. I really like this flashlight because it's super bright, but it's also adjustable. And being a small size, it easily fits in my pockets. And it doesn't take up too much space. Plus, it's got a pretty well conventional lithium-ion battery in it that's rechargeable. I've had this thing a year. It still works perfectly fine. I'm sure it's got tons of recharges left in them. Just remember to recharge it before you go on your trip. So it doesn't go out in the middle of your trip when you need it. And if you are doing something at night, hey, magnetize. Take it wherever you want. And of course, it has various functions, including the strobe, so you can warn people if something happens at night. Stick it on the car. They'll be able to see what's happening. People will have no excuse to say, I didn't see them. They'll see this. And really, if you're going on a trip or just preparing for winter, have your battery load tested. It takes a minute with one of these machines. Now, I mean, I'm prepared either way because I got a big old jump starter in case something goes wrong, but do you really want to be stranded somewhere with a dead battery? The colder it gets, the harder your battery has to work to start your car, so it's a good idea before the winter, have it tested out. And if it shows the battery's on its last legs, change it now so you're not stuck somewhere in a giant snow pile waiting to have somebody save you. If you didn't listen to me and have a jump starter in the back, in which case you could just jump it yourself. But still, you're gonna have to replace the battery anyway. Now, as you can see here, it's 100%, so it's fine. Now, sadly, none of the electric car companies dared to give me an electric car to test out for long distance traveling. And really, I'm happier that way doing long distance traveling. I don't want to spend more days than necessary driving from Rhode Island to Tennessee. There's gas stations everywhere. And the last time I went, I checked out the electric plug-ins wherever I stopped. Half of them didn't even work. And one guy said he'd been sitting there for 6 hours waiting for the charge because it didn't work all that well. I don't want to deal with nonsense like that. But I am going to be traveling through Buffalo, so to visit my mother, and I hope they don't have another lake effect squall while I'm there, because that would slow anybody down, no matter what kind of vehicle you got. Plus, I never buy snow tires because I really don't need them in Tennessee. Although I could have used snow tires decades ago when I was coming back from school on the New York State Thruway driving to Niagara Falls, and the snow came down on an early Thanksgiving, and I ended up going backwards on the New York State Thruway 55 miles an hour. Luckily, I had thought about it. Don't ask me why. But I think it was because my father told me ages ago about this guy in Africa. He thought, what will I do if I'm stampeded by an elephant? And he thought, well, the elephant is going to run into a tree, so I'll stand by the tree and it won't attack me. And it didn't. So I had thought, whatever happens if I went backwards? Well, I realized you don't want to turn. You'd lose control. You want to just keep going straight backwards. So I sat there with my hands on the steering wheel, going straight backwards, looking in the rear view mirror, seeing the road coming at me through the rear view mirror until it came to a complete stop. And I was safe. But on the other hand, it took about 6 hours to get from Syracuse to Niagara Falls, which normally doesn't take but an hour or something to do right. We had to drive so slow on that New York State Thruway with no snow tires, following everybody going like 10, 15 miles an hour. It was a pain. So I hope it doesn't snow on the trip. So here we go. Road trip time. Hey, if any of you see me driving this thing down the road, feel free to wave. See me filling up with gas, come over and say hi. And I got to thank everybody who came here in Rhode Island. Had a great time with all you people. It was interesting. I'm looking forward to meet even more people when I come back in the spring. And Tennessee, here I come. So all you people in Tennessee, it's not that far from Chicago either, wherever you happen to be, you want to take a trip down to Clarksville, feel free to set up an appointment. I'm off to Tennessee on the road. Time to close the hood and get moving. So goodbye, ocean, and hello to the hills of Tennessee. And we're off to Tennessee, starting out in Rhode Island in the middle of the night. And here we are in beautiful downtown Providence. Sun's starting to rise. Now here's the town no one would want to live in, Belchertown. Well, then again, women wouldn't want to live there, but some men would probably like it. Here we go, over the Hudson River. Driving on a new bridge. They seem to always be working on it for construction. And next to it is Old Train Bridge. Just a lot more interesting if you ask me. There's the Hudson on a gray winter's day. Time for a pit stop to get more gas. Well, there's still some snow left here in Buffalo, but the roads are clear. Well, I made it to the hotel. First stop, Niagara Falls. What have I learned? Well, I saw the same amount of dead animals as I did electric cars. Saw 2 Teslas, 1 EV6, and saw 1 dead deer, 1 dead sheep, and an unfortunate dead kitty cat on the side of the road. So it's even Stevens. There's only 3 of each so far. So there's less electric cars, but there's also a lot less dead animals. I figured they must be hibernating or something for the winter. And when it comes to dead tires, I hardly saw any tire treads, and I saw thousands before. It's got to be the cold weather. Cold weather, the glue doesn't come apart on those retread tires. At least that makes sense. And of course, being winter, the hotel parking lot is pretty empty, unlike the 4th of July when it was full even across the street. I suppose it would have looked a lot better, that big snowstorm they just had in Buffalo, but the snow's melted. Now, I suppose you can get some really great deals if you're into pretty much semi-abandoned, desolate buildings with graffiti on them. I mean, what a deal have I got for you? I mean, check it up, a real fixer-upper. It's got its own front gate. I mean, it's bent a little bit. And right across the street, it's this nice little apartment building. It's got, hey, look, it's got some really nice wood inside those windows. Oh, but look, it's too late. Somebody bought this one. Maybe you can get the abandoned lots next door. Day 2, sunrise over the Niagara River. Sometimes it's worth it to pay extra for the river view rooms in your hotel. Down the road, what do I spy? Little wind generators on a power line. Interesting. They spin around with the wind and generate electricity. But certainly not as much as the hydropower here in Niagara Falls. for these giant power lines going across the river. Well, at least the snow's melted in Buffalo. It's the old Dunlop tire factory. They're still making tires there. My father used to work there when he was going to college, a summer job. But no, it's changed. There's an American flag. What? The Japanese have taken over. Sumitomo Rubber USA. And even though I'm in Buffalo, I guess I'll follow this guy to Mercertown, cause from Tennessee, right where I'm headed. And there's downtown Buffalo on a rainy day. There's the big downtown buildings. Looks like something from a Superman movie. Here we have little piles of dirty snow. That's all that's left of the great record Buffalo snowstorm. Piles of dirty snow. Well, day 2 ends in Columbus, Ohio. Learned a couple of things. If you're driving through Ohio on highway, obey the speed limits. The state police there were pulling over people like mad for speeding tickets. And I just walked into the Hilton here, checking things out, and I opened the door, but oh, it fell off. Well, I guess they don't make Hiltons like they used to. Early in the morning, we're leaving the Quaker Steak and Lube. Now here's an interesting one. This truck is drafting behind the big semi to get better fuel economy. It's not exactly a smart thing to do, but he's going to get better gas mileage because he's in the drift behind the truck. The trucks are all sleeping. Look at them all. And an electric Mustang, the first one I've seen. And we're coming into downtown Cincinnati early in the morning. Getting all ready for Christmas too. Look, they got the colored lights on and up on the buildings as we whiz through the tunnel. Really looks cool at night. Now we're in Kentucky. I'm in Kentucky now, and interesting enough, the further south you go, the cheaper the gas. That's $1 cheaper than it was in Rhode Island. Well, I'm back in Tennessee, and the animals are waiting for me. Look how patient they are. Now it's time to check my old garage out. What do I find? Boxes. There's one electric bike I'm gonna have to put together, and next to it, there's another electric bike to put together and test. Add to my legion of two-wheeled vehicles lying around here. Hey, I test them out honestly. Tell you if they're good, tell you if they're bad. Stay tuned. I'm gonna be trying these things out after I put them together. All right, now I'm back in Tennessee. Feel free to contact me so I can check out your car, help you with the problems. And what did I learn on this trip? Well, out of the hundreds of thousands of cars and trucks I saw, only 8 of them were electric, which goes to show they aren't that popular. Out of those 8 cars, 5 were Teslas, but 3 were other companies. I saw an electric Mustang, I saw an EV6, and I also, strangely enough, saw a Rivian pickup truck outside of Buffalo, New York. But, I mean, it kind of shows you the type of person that buys them. The guy was on the wrong side of the road while it was a two-way highway going back and forth. He's on the wrong side of the road, just sitting there like he's somebody special. He doesn't have to park on the right side like everybody else. He's on the other side sitting there. So it maybe says something about people in electric vehicles as far as I'm concerned. And if you have problems with yours or want to know what one to buy or even want to show yours off, hey, just feel free to contact me. I'm in Tennessee now for the next 4 months. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.